Good morning, or almost good afternoon. I am popping in just a couple seconds early to give time for perhaps a few people to join before the official start time. I'm just going to give a quick preview on the two webinars that I will be hosting this week. I'll be hosting this week, one tomorrow and one on Thursday. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name, if you don't know, is Renee Branson, and I just wanted to pop on live here for a moment just to give you an overview and a quick preview of the two webinars that I'm going to be hosting this week that focus on preventing sexual harassment at conferences and work events. And the first one is going to be tomorrow at noon. And that one is really geared towards folks who are conference attendees and vendors and just general population of people who are walking around, existing in conference spaces. That includes the actual conference and all of the things that go on around conferences, the networking events, the after-hour parties, the client dinners, all of that. And then the second one on Thursday will be Thursday at noon, and that one will be geared towards those of you who are planning events, you're planning conferences. That might mean you are planning a conference for your firm or for your organization, or maybe this is your full-time job. You actually work for a conference planning company. And what we'll dive into on Thursday are ways that you can create a safer space for everyone who is a part of your conference. Everyone from attendees to your own staff to vendors and the like. So I wanted just to give you a moment to kind of pull the veil back and share a little bit more about what we'll cover on those, and hopefully get you excited for attending those conferences or those webinars this week. So again, the first one is focused on conference attendees and vendors and anyone who's walking around the space of a conference or work event. And we'll talk a lot about bystander intervention. One of the most common things I hear is we hear a lot about if you see something, say something. That goes from sexual harassment to, something suspicious at the airport. If you see something, say something. But when it comes to a work event and you see something that does that involve sexual harassment? Is that might be something that's uncomfortable, or maybe there's some potential for harm here? What do I do about that? What is the say something of say something, right? Does it have to be a direct confrontation? What if that person has more authority or is in a position of power above me? Now what do I do? All of these questions come up, and what happens more often than we would like is that we say nothing. And we say nothing not because we don't care, but because we just don't know what to do in that moment. So my goal is to help you be prepared in that moment to talk about a variety of different ways that you can do to intervene from the moment, even kind of pre-event. What are some things that you can do that help set a stage for healthy, safe interactions among your colleagues and your peers? We'll talk some specifically to the men who are attending this webinar, and I am so grateful and so glad that you are an active participant in this, because the truth is that you have access to conversations and rooms that myself as a woman and others who are female presenting don't have privy to. You hear things and have the ability to say things that can change the narrative that we don't have access to. So I am so glad that you're going to be a part of this conversation. And I want to give you some really specific encouragement and some tips on how you can change the dynamic and how you can create a situation that makes a safer space for all. We'll also talk about how sexual harassment does not, while it's but still far and wide, still most often happens to women. That is not the only one who is at the victim end of sexual harassment, unwanted sexual attention, sexual assault, and sexual misconduct. Men absolutely are fall prey to this. Certainly, the LGBTQ community falls prey to this. There is no one, unfortunately, excluded from the risk of experiencing sexual harassment and sexual harm. So we'll talk about, and it can look different, right? And different for different people. So we'll talk some about that, how it might look different and how you can still play a part in bystander intervention when you see or hear some of those things occurring. We'll also talk about the difference between changing hearts and minds, which, yes, of course we want to do, right? We want to change hearts and minds, but the difference between that and in the moment, just stopping harm, right, from happening. So these are both really important, valid things, and there is a time and place for both. And so we'll discuss that. So that's going to be tomorrow at noon. Registration is still open. We've got a really great, robust list of attendees, and I'm so excited about that. Tomorrow at noon, I have the links for that in the comments below this live. Then on Thursday, we are going to take a more targeted approach, and we're going to talk specifically to folks who are conference planners and work event planners and organizers, because you have a really unique opportunity to create a safer space for all. I see a lot of really great codes of conduct out there when it comes to conferences and work events. And I applaud folks for having those. I think where there is a gap, and I think this is because there's just a lack of information and wherewithal, is that what do we do then with that code of conduct? What exists beyond that? So we're going to get really kind of in the weeds, so to speak, about what can we do to make sure that there's accountability, right? What policies can be implemented to make sure that that code of conduct really has some accountability to it? And also, what are some procedures that can be put in place, both as prevention measures and also procedures for, post-critical incident, when something has happened, when there has been a report. And we'll talk about all of those things. Also connecting, showing you how to connect to local resources that are available to you. That's particularly important if you're hosting an event that's in a completely different city that you might not be aware of. And so being able to connect to the resources that can help support you in your efforts to prevent harm from happening, or can help you if and when some instances of harm does happen, is such a benefit, right? Because you shouldn't have to be in that by yourself. So we'll really get into the weeds about that, but it's really going to be an hour that I believe is going to be really empowering, because it gives you some answers and some solutions to things where too often it's a lot of let's cross our fingers and hope everyone behaves. And we certainly hope that. I hear a lot of, doesn't everybody know? Shouldn't everyone know how to act like professionals, behave like professionals? Yes, we all should. Right? And I think in a lot of ways we all do, but it doesn't happen, right? We have to work with where we are, right? Meet the challenge where we are. And what that means is that we have to create environments that create safety and reduce harm. We know that we might not be at a place yet where we can expect that we're not going to have some instances of harm. but we can make sure that we're ready to respond to it, and we're able to reduce the risk of that, hopefully down to a nil. So that's just an overview. Again, that one's on Thursday. The second one that's for conference and event planners is on Thursday. We've got a great attendance in that one signed up, but there's space in both. Both of these are free, which is not usual. I don't expect to be offering these free again, but I always want to continue the conversation. So please sign up for those. I'm really so enthused and excited to be providing this to folks, and it really, I've been so heartened by the response that this is a need, and also that people believe that there are solutions out there. So one last time, tomorrow at noon is the bystander intervention training, and it is free. There are links below to get registered. Registration is still open. And then Thursday at noon, all of these are in Eastern time, we will have a policy and procedure for event planners and organizers. And listen, policies and procedures, nothing sounds less exciting, right, than discussion of policies and procedures. But I really do believe that this will be a really great conversation and a hopeful conversation that we can make a difference. So I hope to see a lot of you there. Even if you're not, even if you don't think right now you are on a planning committee, or that's not a role that you're in right now, if you think that that's something that you're going to be a part of in the future, or you want to take that, participate in the webinar, and then take that to the people who you work with who do conference planning, and you want to take that information to them, sign up for it, because it really is going to be, I think, a really useful webinar. Both of those links are in the comments below, and I'm really looking forward to the time that we're going to get to spend together both tomorrow and on Thursday. So I will see you there. Until then, I hope that you have a great Tuesday. Oh, and happy Galentine's Day, for those who celebrate. So to all the gals out there, all of my gals, happy Galentine's Day. I sure am grateful to all of you. All right, I'll see you tomorrow.